Hello, my name is Darren Thomas. I'm the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a table using the LaTeX typesetting software. So as you can see here, I'm already inside my TechWorks LaTeX editor. And like I already mentioned, we're going to make a table, which is just an alternative way to display data, in a page. So before I go through the details of how to do this, I want to show you what the final product will look like. So if you look right here, you can see right here in the middle of the page, we have what the table is going to look like. Now, as we develop this, we're going to play with several different options, so the table will not always look exactly like this. But you can see the basic setup here. You have a line at the top, you have 3 columns. I just put in some dummy words here, so 3 columns, title is for the heading, another line, and then 2 rows of data or text. I call it test. And then another line at the bottom, and of course a table identification, as well as a table title. So again, you've probably seen lots and lots of tables like this in your life, and we're just going to figure out how to do this in LaTeX. Now, of course, I'm leaving out a whole lot of options and features that you can use. I'm just going to show you how to make a very, very basic, dare I say, even a boring looking table. So having said that, we're now back inside our LaTeX editor, and we're going to go through the actual process of creating this table. So we start by creating our document class. And so for this particular example, we're going to have an article as our document class. We don't need any packages. Again, if you want to make a more advanced table, of course there are packages available. But we're just going to begin our document environment now, like so. And then of course, I like to end mine immediately due to forgetfulness. So I have my document set up. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to make the actual table, but we're going to leave off some of the features. I just want you to see what the basic table looks like without any of the lines or other etc. things. So we make another environment with begin. And we're going to use a declaration called tabular. That's what you use to create it. And now after tabular, you have to, for a second set of arguments, you have to put in the number of columns you want. And so what you use is you use one of 3 letters, L, which means left justified, R meaning right justified, or C meaning centered. And that affects how the text is set up. So in my example here, you can see right here, you probably can't tell very well, but this is actually left justified, if you will. And so what's going to happen is that to make all these left justified, I have to, of course, use my curly braces and do LLL. Each L represents one of my columns. And the L also represents meaning I want my text to be left justified. If I want my text to be centered, I would do CCC. If I want it to be right justified, I do RRR. And of course, for the A students, you know that you can use a combination of these. So L, C, R. That means my column further to the left is left justified, the column in the middle is center justified, and the column further to the right is now right justified. That's how you do that. But I just want LLL. And of course, I always like to end my environment. So I'm going to end my tabular environment now so I don't forget. You don't have to put any options after the end declaration. Now, inside here, the begin tabular and the end tabular is the actual information that is going to be in my table. And so as I go through this, I have to make sure that I fill in all of my rows, or that I indicate some sort of information in the rows by doing something specific. So if you look at the final example, you can see in the first row I have title, title, title. So again, for my 3 columns. So how do I do that? I type in title. And so now I have to separate one column from the other. To do that in LaTeX, you use the ampersand. This is the little symbol that is above your number 7 on your keyboard. So you press down Shift and you get the ampersand like that. And then my second row is title. All right, so now my first row is set up as so. Now to close off a row, you have to use the double forward slash. So I do like that. And that's how LaTeX knows that this row is complete. If you leave that off, you're going to have a problem. Now, if you look at my next 2 rows, they're essentially the same. Test, 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 test. And as you already know, if you've been listening carefully, I'm just going to type test, ampersand, forward slash twice, test, ampersand. That's it. I don't think I need the forward slash at the end when I'm done with the table. I'll check that when I compile it. So test, ampersand, test, forward slash. Then I can just copy this to save time. Like so. I do need this because I'm going to use the put in the lines in a second. All right, so this is the bare minimum of a table. I'm going to compile this. Now we're not quite complete, but I just want to show you the progress we've made so far. All right, so this is what we have right here. You can see we're still missing our lines and we don't have our caption. So the next step that we want to do is we want to add the lines to give the table some sort of a structure and shape to it, because right now we just have 3 columns of empty space and data. Now, how do you add the lines? All right, so I need to go back up here and notice how I press enter, and I'm going to put in my first horizontal line. The declaration for that, or the command for that, is called /h line, like so. This is telling LaTeX to put a horizontal line above the title row, as you can see there. But I'm not done yet. I will also want another H line below that, because as you know, often in tables, we separate the headings by having those lines that's up there near above them and below them, like so. And of course, I also want a horizontal line at the bottom, like so. So let's go ahead and compile this. So you can see now, it looks a lot more like a table. The only thing that is missing now is that we need to add the caption. And this is where things get a little bit more complicated. We have to add something to this. But you can see it looks nice and neat and clean, and we just have to add a title to it now. Now, to make the title of the table, you have to add an environment called table. Not that big of a deal. We could have did this from the beginning, but I wanted to focus on just making the table in as simple a way as possible. So see if you can follow me. I'm going to type in begin, and then I'm going to type in table as my environment. All right, and then I'm going to go down here and do this here at the bottom as well. End, and then table. All right, so looks like we're just about set up there. Now there's one other thing that I have to do. Underneath the begin table, I have to put in centering. If I don't do this, what happens is that the title for the table is way off to the side. It is not underneath the table like I want it. So let me show you what that looks like first, so you can see how weird it is. But I have to give the table a name first, so I need to do that also. So let me do one more thing. I forgot to mention that. And so underneath tabular here, I have to put the actual name of the table. So I'm going to use a command called caption. And inside the curly braces, I'm going to give the table a name. We're going to call it awesome. That's what we're going to call it. Now, I wanted to show you what happens when you don't center. So let me do that first. So let me back up. We made the table environment. We wrapped that around our tabular. And then underneath table, we put centering, but I commented that out by using the percentage sign, so it will not work right now. And then underneath in tabular, we put a caption called awesome. That's the name of the table. So let's compile this. And so you can see right here that the heading for the table is way off to the side. This is very, very annoying. But notice what it does. They automatically put table 1 there. This is beautiful because if you ever move the table around, its numbering will automatically change for you. Saves a lot of time. And also after the colon, you have the name of the table, awesome. Now I'm going to put in here the centering, and now it's going to look exactly how we want it. Just like so. This is what it should look like. Very, very beautiful. And so you can see everything is lined up, nice and beautiful, perfect. Now there's one other thing I want to show you that is not in the table, but that I just want you to see, and that is how to add vertical lines. Normally in typesetting and APA, you don't use vertical lines. They're considered evil, I guess. But if you want to add a vertical line, what you do is this. There is a button right above the enter key. You know, it's the / basically. We've been using it a lot, like so. If you hold down shift, you'll get this little vertical bar here. Wherever you add the vertical bar inside the curly braces next to the tabular for the begin environment, you will add a horizontal line. So what I just did was this. I hope you can see this. I put a vertical line to the left of the first column and another vertical line to the right of the first column. And so I should have one vertical line, two vertical lines, excuse me. And you can see those, hopefully you can see those right here. And that's how you do that. So I have the two vertical lines. But again, normally we don't use vertical lines except for very special situations. All right, that was a lot of work. But in this video today, what we did was that we learned how to build a basic table using LaTeX. There are several steps to this. You have to use the tabular environment. You have to determine how many columns you want to next to that. And then you have to, put the information in the rows, and you have to, if you want, put in the different horizontal lines. If you desire to put in a caption, you can wrap the tabular environment inside a table environment. And then you put use the caption command and type in the name of the actual table at the bottom. So I hope that this video was useful, and we thank you for listening. Take care.